But I did encourage him by telling him to hurry up and do it.
Christmas was only days away, and Tim Saunders' calls to his daughter and her family went unanswered. So on December 13th, 2020, he decided to go to her house to check on them. After no answer at the door, he let himself in and began shouting for them. When he reached the master bedroom, he made a gut-wrenching discovery. His daughter, Risa Mae, and her husband Daniel were laying in the bed with gunshot wounds to their heads. In a panic, he began to stumble out of the bedroom, but not before seeing his 12-year-old grandson, Gage's lifeless body in the room with his parents. After Tim managed to get outside, he screamed to the neighbor, asking if they'd seen anyone there and that his family was dead. They called the police and waited outside the home with the family dog, Gemma, whose paws were covered in blood. When the police arrived, they confirmed the 3 deaths, but tragically, they had found another. Risa and Daniel's 3-year-old son, Jameson, was found shot in the head under his bed. Tim alerted police that he had another grandson, Gavin, who was not in the home. The search began immediately. Little did police know, Gavin was in the woods watching everything unfold. And he would be found later that day, hiding behind a dresser in his girlfriend's room on the 3rd floor of her house, and he would tell police a chilling story about the day of the murders. It started in the spring that year when he met 17-year-old Rebecca Walker, and they quickly became close. But when the COVID lockdowns began, they couldn't see each other at school anymore. And furthermore, both of their parents didn't approve of the relationship and forbade them from seeing each other. Over the next few months, they would exchange over 15,000 pages of Facebook messages. Gavin tried to run away from home multiple times, but living in the small town of Elkview, West Virginia, he was always picked up quickly by police and returned home. The simple act of returning him home would fill Gavin with the rage and resentment that would fuel future acts. The day of the murder, Gavin and Rebecca were in constant contact as usual. They were both bitter and angry over not being able to see each other. Rebecca lived with her grandmother and knew her grandmother was set to go out of town that night. Gavin suggested he kill his family to be with her, and shockingly, Rebecca agreed, and she told him that he should do it. He proceeded to show her on video chat a gun and a knife, telling her he was planning to use them to kill his family. They continued discussing their plan until nightfall. After his parents had went to sleep, Gavin FaceTimed Rebecca, telling her he was going to do it now while she was on the call, and she told him to, quote, hurry up and do it. Gavin walked into his parents' bedroom and shot them point-blank, execution style, in the head as they slept. He then shot his little brother Gage, who was in the room too. The whole time, Rebecca could hear everything. After killing Gage and his parents, he turned the camera back to himself, telling her it was done. But sadly, the horror wasn't over. By both of their accounts, Gavin had planned to leave and go to Rebecca's after the murders. But while on video chat, they heard the cries from the other room of his baby brother, 3-year-old Jameson. Gavin immediately went to Jameson's room, where the toddler was hiding under his bed, and shot him in the head. Gavin then got on his bike and began riding to his girlfriend's house. He sent her chilling text messages on the way, saying, I'm a murderer, baby. I killed Jameson. I'm crying. The pair hid out at her house the following days until police came looking for him. They killed his family to spend less than 4 days together. At the time of his arrest, police found blood on his clothes that matched that of both of his brothers. After seizing his phone and collecting evidence, Rebecca was also charged for her role. Both received 4 counts of first-degree murder. The whole time in police custody, the pair showed no remorse. Then in July of 2021, in order to lessen her sentence, Rebecca would choose to take a plea deal and testify against Gavin. She would ultimately be charged with 4 counts accessory after the fact to first-degree murder, 2.5 years for each victim, totaling 10 years in prison. And after her testimony, she would provide disturbing details and insight into the cruel and selfish crimes that December night.
I was on video chat with him while this was occurring, but I did encourage him by telling him to hurry up and do it. Planning with the gun, he was planning to kill his mom and his stepdad, but however, I can't exactly recall what was used with every single victim, but I do know that there was a gun and a knife involved with the victims.
Gavin's defense would argue the first-degree murder charge, saying there was no malice. But with Rebecca's testimony stating that weeks prior to the murder, after an attempt to run away, Gavin told her he wanted to kill his family. In her testimony, she claimed the screen went black while the mass murder was taking place, but admitted to cheering him on while it was happening. She also admitted to hearing baby Jamison cry in the background, but claimed she didn't see that murder, and also that she didn't want him killed. But as we know, she didn't stop him either. Gavin's defense would say that he was abused by his stepfather, who wouldn't let him out of the house and kept food locked away, and forced him to take care of his younger brother Jamison. But none of these claims have been proven. The sentencing of these two disturbed individuals was difficult to comprehend as well. While she did receive 10 years, she's eligible for parole in a few months from today in June of 2023. Gavin was convicted of 3 counts first-degree murder and 1 count second-degree murder. Gavin received 3 life sentences and 40 years. In addition to that, he got 10 years for possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. But because Gavin was 16 at the time of his killing rampage, he received life with mercy. With mercy is mandated in West Virginia law when the defendant was under the age of 18 at the time of the crimes. This means that he can apply for a pardon once he has served enough time to be paroled, which is 15 years. West Virginia doesn't allow juveniles to be sentenced to life without giving them mercy. The parents of slain father Daniel would say they wish there was no mercy for him, and I can definitely understand that opinion. Gavin showed zero remorse during his trial.
There's days that I do anything to take it back.
A brief and emotionless apology from Gavin Smith before asking the judge for leniency.
I'm begging you, if you do grant this alternate sentence Mr. Sullivan's talking about, you won't have an issue on me because I never was involved with it all until December of 2020.
Your actions can only be described as an act of pure evil.
Hopefully, the justice system can hold strong and he never gets out.
As the numbness took over my body, I tried to comprehend how someone could have so much hatred to eliminate 4 people, including his own flesh and blood, in such a violent and cowardly way, especially the 3-year-old Jamison.
Cannot comprehend how he could have taken his brother's life along with the lives of Daniel, Risa, and Gage.
This is one of those cases that you just can't forget. It was so senseless and tragic. You just hope the families of the victims at least have some closure knowing that the killer is locked up. But still, it will never bring back nearly an entire family that was gunned down. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to hear more cases.